Now. Drop the knife. Drop it. Drop it. Come on, listen. Drop it. Drop the knife. Drop the fucking knife. Drop the knife. Yo, Marcus, you got a taser? Drop the knife. It's not this serious. Drop it. Drop the fucking knife. Drop the knife. You got a taser? Okay. Drop the knife.
Just drop the knife, baby.
Drop the knife. We get it. We get it. We get it. We get it.
Listen. Drop the knife and talk to me. Sweetheart, drop the knife and talk to me.
No, fuck that.
You do have the right to fight back.
He touched me.
Sweetheart, relax. Relax.
What you talking about?
Nobody wants to hurt you. Relax. Calm down.
And you're my bitch. Hell no. Fuck that. No.
Drop the knife.
Fuck no. Don't go back the fuck up. No.
We're not. Calm down. Calm down. Over this.
Drop it. Oh, oh, oh. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up.
What you just witnessed happened on September 27th, 2025, at 2 in the morning in Buffalo, New York. Buffalo police officers responding to an unknown trouble call encountered a woman armed with a blade, refusing commands for several minutes, advancing toward people despite warnings and pepper spray. Then she stabbed a man in the head. An officer immediately fired his weapon. The woman was struck in the shoulder. The woman is 38-year-old Cynthia Gilbert. You heard officers desperately trying everything. Drop the knife. Drop the fucking knife. Do you want to get shot or not? Then switching to gentler approaches. It's not this serious. Drop it. Sweetheart, relax. Nobody wants to hurt you. You heard them looking for alternatives. Yo, Marcus, you got a taser? According to the official Buffalo Police Department report, both Gilbert and the man she stabbed were transported to Erie County Medical Center with non-life-threatening injuries. Both survived. Gilbert was charged with attempted murder and attempted assault. In October 2025, Erie County District Attorney Mike Keane determined the officer's actions were justified and cleared him of wrongdoing. Before we continue, if you want to understand the full story behind Bodycam footage, not just raw clips without explanation, subscribe to this channel right now. We don't just post Bodycam videos. We break them down. We give you the 911 calls that started it, the laws that apply, the investigation results, the outcomes for everyone involved. Our goal is to help you understand what really happened and why it happened, so you can form your own informed opinion. That's what sets this channel apart. Context, analysis, and the complete story. Hit that subscribe button now. Should officers have just tossed her instead? Drop yes or no below. ***. According to the official report, officers were dispatched to an unknown trouble call, one of the most dangerous situations police respond to. Unknown trouble means someone called 911 but couldn't or wouldn't specify the emergency. Maybe the caller was in danger and couldn't speak freely. Maybe they hung up before explaining. Maybe they were incoherent. Officers responding to unknown trouble have no idea what they're walking into. It could be a medical emergency, a burglary, a mental health crisis, domestic violence, or an armed standoff. When Buffalo police arrived at approximately 2 a.m., they found Cynthia Gilbert armed with a blade and acting aggressively toward people present at the scene. The report describes these people as known to her, not strangers, but people she had relationships with. This wasn't random violence. Officers immediately began giving commands. Drop the knife. Buffalo police. Under New York law, Gilbert was required to comply. She had no legal right to refuse. But Gilbert didn't drop the weapon. That refusal set everything in motion. The body cam reveals officers spent several minutes trying every de-escalation technique available. Loud, authoritative commands ***. Drop the fucking knife. I'm not playing with you. Clear, forceful commands designed to establish authority and compel compliance. The repetition is deliberate. People in crisis often don't process information the first time. Explicit warnings ***. Do you want to get shot or not? Not a threat, a warning. The officer is telling Gilbert exactly what will happen if she doesn't comply. She has the information to make an informed choice. Calm, persuasive appeals ***. It's not this serious. Drop it. Trying to reframe the situation. Whatever she's upset about isn't worth getting shot over. Drop it, baby. Just drop the knife. Sweetheart, relax. Nobody wants to hurt you. Officers switching to gentle, almost parental tones. using terms of endearment to humanize the interaction and reduce her fear or aggression. Offering to communicate asterisk. Drop the knife and we'll talk to you. Offering a path forward. They'll listen to her concerns, but only after she disarms. Looking for less lethal options asterisk. Yo, Marcus, you got a taser? Even while confronting an armed, aggressive subject, officers are actively looking for ways to stop her without deadly force. A taser would deliver electrical shock, causing temporary incapacitation, the ideal tool for this situation. But apparently it wasn't available or couldn't be deployed safely. Pepper spray deployment asterisk. According to the official report, as Gilbert moved toward people known to her and pointed the weapon at them, one officer deployed pepper spray. Pepper spray causes immediate eye inflammation, temporary blindness, burning sensation, and breathing difficulty. Most people are immediately incapacitated. But it didn't work. Gilbert continued advancing despite being pepper sprayed. Pepper spray fails when it doesn't hit directly in the face. The person is on drugs. They've built up tolerance from prior exposure. They're extremely determined. Whatever the reason, the pepper spray failed. Officers had now tried verbal commands in multiple tones, warnings about consequences, calm persuasion, offers to talk, search for taser, pepper spray deployment. They exhausted their options. Gilbert was still armed, still aggressive, still advancing. Do you think officers tried hard enough to avoid shooting? Type your answer below. As officers continued de-escalation, Gilbert moved toward the group of people known to her, pointing the weapon at them. Pointing a weapon at people is assault under New York law. Even without touching them, it creates reasonable fear of attack. That's when the officer deployed pepper spray, a last attempt to stop her. But Gilbert didn't stop. She continued advancing. And then she attacked. She stabbed a man in the head. Medically, this is critical. The head contains the brain, major blood vessels, sensory organs, and is protected by the skull. A stab wound to the head can penetrate the skull and damage brain tissue, causing death or permanent neurological injury. Sever scalp arteries, causing massive bleeding and death within minutes. Damage eyes, ears, nose, causing permanent sensory loss. Cause traumatic brain injury, even without skull penetration. Lead to fatal infection. The report states non-life-threatening injuries, meaning he survived and wasn't expected to die. But we don't know where exactly he was stabbed, how deep the blade went, whether his skull was fractured, whether he needed surgery, whether he has permanent damage. What we know, Gilbert stabbed him in the head with a blade. Head stabbings can easily be fatal. Legally, this forms the basis for Gilbert's attempted murder charge. Under New York law, prosecutors must prove Gilbert intentionally engaged in conduct, likely to cause death, with intent to kill or depraved indifference to life. Stabbing someone in the head clearly meets this. You don't accidentally stab someone's head. Any reasonable person knows this could kill them. The officer's response. The moment Gilbert stabbed that man, everything changed. Officers were now dealing with a subject who just committed attempted murder, demonstrated willingness to use deadly force, still armed, could attack again. The bodycam captures the chaos. Screaming. Officers reacting. An officer fires his weapon. One shot. Gilbert is struck in the shoulder. She goes down. The officer who fired made a split-second decision. Gilbert had just stabbed someone in the head. She remained armed. She could attack again. Less lethal options had failed. Lives were in danger. Under New York law and Supreme Court precedent, Tennessee versus Garner, Graham versus Connor, officers can use deadly force when facing imminent deadly threat. Gilbert had just used deadly force. The officer's response was legally justified. Immediate aftermath. She stabbed you. Let me see. Officers checking the stabbing victim. Head wounds bleed profusely. They need to assess severity and control bleeding. Can you give me gauze? Something to plug it up. Calling for medical supplies. Immediate hemorrhage control can mean life or death. Breathe. Breathe. You hear me. Monitoring consciousness. Keeping him responsive while waiting for EMS. From Gilbert. I need to call my dad. Wounded. Shocked. The reality setting in. Officers rendered aid to both victims. Once the threat was stopped, they immediately worked to save lives, including Gilbert's. Medical outcomes. Both were transported to Erie County Medical Center. Both survived with non-life-threatening injuries. For the stabbing victim, head wound, unknown full extent of injuries, survived. For Gilbert, gunshot to shoulder. Could involve shattered bones, nerve damage, permanent limited mobility, chronic pain. Non-life-threatening doesn't mean minor, just that they weren't expected to die. Cynthia Gilbert was arraigned on 2 felonies. 1. Attempted murder in the second degree. New York Penal Law Section 110/125.25. Elements. Attempted to cause death of another. Intended to cause death. Application. Gilbert stabbed a man in the head, an act likely to cause death. She knew this could kill him. Class B felony. 5 to 25 years in prison. Mandatory minimum 5 years. 2. Attempted assault in the first degree. New York Penal Law Section 110/120.10. Elements. Attempted to cause serious physical injury. With a deadly weapon. Application. Used a blade to stab someone in the head. Also carries significant prison time. Potential sentence. Minimum. 5 years. Mandatory. Likely with plea. 10 to 15 years. Maximum if convicted at trial. 25+ years. Why both charges? Different elements. If jury isn't convinced of intent to kill, they might convict on assault. Gives prosecutors leverage for plea deals. What sentence do you think is fair? Drop a number below. After the shooting, New York law requires independent investigation to determine if the officer should face charges. Erie County DA Mike Keane conducted this investigation, reviewing complete bodycam footage, witness statements, medical records, physical evidence, 911 call audio, officer statements, use of force analysis, timeline reconstruction. In October 2025, DA Keane announced the officer's actions were justified. He was cleared of wrongdoing. Why justified? New York Penal Law Section 35.30. Officers can use deadly force when reasonably believing it's necessary to defend against imminent deadly force. Application. Gilbert just stabbed someone in the head, deadly force used. Still armed. Could attack again. Officer reasonably believed deadly force necessary. Tennessee v. Garner/Graham v. Connor. Supreme Court cases governing use of force. Factors. Crime severity. Attempted murder, most severe. Immediate threat. Yes, just stabbed someone, still armed. Resisting. Yes, refuse commands for minutes. All factors support justification. De-escalation factor. DA specifically examined whether officers tried to de-escalate. Evidence showed several minutes of verbal commands. Multiple approaches, loud, calm, warnings. Sought less lethal options. Deployed pepper spray. Only shot after Gilbert stabbed someone. Extensive de-escalation supported justification. Proportionality. Gilbert's threat, deadly weapon, just used it, still armed. Officer's response. One shot, struck shoulder, stopped when threat neutralized. Proportional. Yes. Deadly force meeting deadly force. Do you agree with the DA's decision? Type agree or disagree. On September 27, 2025, at 2 a.m. in Buffalo, New York, Cynthia Gilbert made choices that led to devastating consequences. She chose to arm herself. She chose to refuse commands, repeatedly, for minutes. She chose to ignore warnings, calm appeals, and pepper spray. She chose to stab a man in the head. The consequences. The man Gilbert stabbed suffered a serious head wound. Rushed to trauma center. Survived, but carries physical and psychological scars forever. Gilbert was shot. Shoulder wound. Hospitalized. Survived. Now faces 5 to 25 years for attempted murder. The officer was investigated and cleared. DA determined the shooting was legally justified. What the bodycam shows. Minutes of officers trying everything. Loud commands. Gentle appeals. Warnings. Pepper spray. All failing because Gilbert refused to drop the weapon. Then the stabbing. The shooting. Immediate medical response. This wasn't excessive force. This wasn't a failure of de-escalation. This was an officer who exhausted every option and only used deadly force when Gilbert stabbed someone and remained a deadly threat. The legal process. Gilbert will face trial. A jury will see this footage. They'll hear evidence. They'll decide if she's guilty of attempted murder. The evidence is overwhelming. The footage is clear. The consequences will likely follow her for decades. 3 final questions. 1. Do you think the officer should have waited longer before shooting, or did he show restraint? 2. What drove Gilbert to make these choices? Mental health crisis, drugs, rage, something else? 3. If Gilbert is convicted, what should her sentence be? 5 years minimum? 25 years maximum? Somewhere between? Drop your answers in the comments below. And if you want more real bodycam footage analyzed with complete context, the calls, the de-escalation, the medical outcomes, the legal decisions, subscribe to this channel. We give you the full story so you understand what really happened. Thanks for watching. See you next time.